second game-winning field goal this season for Kevin Butler, and the Bears complete the comeback and knock off the Patriots 16-14 in Chicago. This was a sensational football game by Jim McMahon on a deep in-breaking route. Willie Green snuck behind the back line of that end zone and reels in the touchdown. It's his first of the year. And the St. Louis Rams, but has now lost two heartbreakers in a row, salvage a season that has gone south as the Chiefs have lost 3 of 4. Washington has won 4 of 5, and they're back in the playoff picture now after their thrilling win in overtime at Kansas City. The Redskins 20 and the Chiefs 17. This is Charger Dude 95. We bring you Week 9 of the Dream Season Football League 4, where teams will clinch the playoffs and others will be eliminated from the postseason today. Bottom right of your screen of the NFC, the Seahawks and the Vikings both are in the cellar of this conference right now, but the Seahawks with wins against Pittsburgh, Washington, Baltimore, and Miami over the last 4 weeks. They are back at 500 and are one of the hottest teams in football. They battle the struggling 2-6 Vikings. Cunningham down 7-2 late opening half. Throws on a play that looks identical to how Kaepernick lost the 2013 NFC Championship. Tip throw to Sherman. That's the 13th takeaway this year for the Legion of Boom. They're also a top 5 total defense and are second in takeaways. Midway fourth quarter, Cunningham on third down throws incomplete to Glover. Minnesota goes for it, down only 9 with all 3 timeouts, and Cunningham overthrows Chris Carter. And thus the Seahawks Legion of Boom delivers what is an important stand as Russell Wilson scores a 5-yard touchdown scamper, and Seattle takes what felt to be, even though they missed a 2-point conversion, an insurmountable 20-5 lead. But then Cunningham launches a 49-yard touchdown to the excellent rookie from Marshall, Randy Moss. Seahawks kick a field goal, 23-12 Seattle. Then Cunningham on 4th and 20 keeps the Vikings comeback and playoff hopes alive with a 70-yard touchdown strike to Chris Walsh, veteran from Stanford. Vikings need a Mitch Berger onside kick recovery, but it's picked up by Jermaine Kearse, and the Seahawks have won their 5th straight game with a 23-18 victory. Minnesota, who drops to 2-7, suffers their 4th one-possession loss this year and have been eliminated from the postseason. As we look at the NFC now, following the Seahawks win, Seattle is 5-4 and is 1 win or some help in Week 10 from clinching a postseason spot. Meanwhile, at the bottom left of your screen, Baltimore and Miami meet in Week 9 out of the AFC. The loser is eliminated from the playoffs at Memorial Stadium. 3-5 Dolphins at the 3-5 Colts. Late fourth quarter with no score between the Dolphins and the Colts. Jimmy Orr begins this drive with a 19-yard catch and run. 2nd and 13, Morrill, who leads the team and the league in pass attempts, hooks up with Mate, who then has a face mask against Tim Foley. Colts are just outside field goal range. Then Ray Perkins, the second-year man from Alabama, puts the Colts in the red zone, but Michaels to win the game and save the season as his field goal blocked, recovered by Lloyd Mumford, and we head to overtime. After a Colts 3-and-out, Dolphins with their quarterback situation dreadful. 4 touchdowns and 10 interceptions by both Bob Greasy and Earl Morrill. He's picked off by the excellent veteran from Oklahoma, Bobby Boyd, who has 8 interceptions in that 68 season, and he reels in what looks to be the game winner as Perkins makes the catch here along the right sideline. Then, for redemption, Lou Michaels, 11-year man from Kentucky, drills the field goal from 33. And the Colts win by just a field goal. 3-0 Baltimore in overtime. Miami at 3-6 suffers their 3rd shutout this year. They're the league's worst scoring offense. And now Baltimore at 4-5 is just a half game out of Kansas City and Pittsburgh for the final spot out of the AFC. The Steelers, as we see on the left at 4-4, visit the 4-4 Washington Redskins, who just saw the Seahawks win earlier today at CenturyLink Field. In beautiful conditions at RFK Stadium at the District of Columbia, Rippon launches a 50-yard touchdown to Ricky Sanders, veteran from Texas State. Then Rippon throws his 2nd TD of the ballgame to Art Monk. He is the performer of the week with 229 yards and 3 scores. The 3rd comes late in the 3rd quarter. Redskins already up 17-0. Ricky Sanders reels in this scoring toss from Mark Rippon. And after a Larry Anderson kickoff return touchdown, Steelers are somewhat in the game, but on 4th and 10, no pass interference on Lynn Swann. Pass is incomplete. and thus the Pittsburgh Steelers drop a blowout to Washington. The Redskins remain alive for a playoff spot. This season, their offense has been top half in the league, and they also lead the DSFL 4 in fewest turnovers committed. On the right, we see the Seahawks and the Redskins are both 5-4. The 2007 New England Patriots can clinch the AFC overall with a win over Oakland at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. Raiders have been eliminated at 2-6, but already up 3-0. Gannon hooks up for the rookie tight end from BYU, Doug Jolly. That's a gain of 35, and it sets up a Sebastian Janikowski field goal. The Patriots are the worst defense in football in takeaways, and they aren't much better in pass defense. Gannon rips them apart. Big completion to Rice, then a face mask on Rodney Harrison allows the Raiders a short field to begin the second half, and Oakland takes advantage as Gannon on the next play off of play action launches a 26-yard touchdown with an incredible catch at the back end of it to the veteran from Notre Dame, the 15-year man Tim Brown. After a field goal late third quarter by way of the Patriots, Gostowski, Gannon engineers a game-winning drive. Third down conversions, first to Brown, the second to Roland Williams, and the third to conclude it with under 2 minutes to go in the game to Charlie Garner, gives the Raiders their third win of the season. New England must wait at least a week if the Broncos win later tonight to clinch the AFC. They need just one win or one Bronco loss to have the top spot and also home field advantage in the conference. Gannon against the Patriots today, he was incredible, completing 75% of his throws. As we see the AFC standings on the left of your bracket, New England is 6-3 and just a half game up of the 2 seed. The Denver Broncos will play the Chiefs in a bit. Meanwhile, out the NFC, the Packers battle the Bears. Green Bay has a game lead over the remainder of the NFC and face off against Chicago in a game that could eliminate the Bears with a loss on the road. Off the play action, McMahon begins the game, capping off a 75-yard touchdown drive with a hookup to the veteran receiver from Stanford, Ken Margram. Then Freeman gets things going for the Packers. He has, for a majority of the season, been the top receiver in football in terms of yards. There's another big play of 21 yards to Freeman, second-year man from Virginia Tech. Then Favre on 3rd and goal intended for Freeman throws out of the back of the end zone. Incredible coverage by the young cornerback from Arizona State, Mike Richardson. Fourth quarter now for the Packers. Favre goes deep and hooks up with Robert Brooks, who has been a big-time target this year with over 300 yards receiving for the Green Bay Packers. But Favre makes a terrible decision 2 plays later. Dave Duerson intercepts Brett Favre. That's the quarterback's 11th pick thrown this season. Chicago with under 2 minutes to go in the game. Off of play action, their quarterback Jim McMahon, a dangerous runner to go along with his gun-slinging throws. He moves the chains with a 3-yard run. And Chicago, after starting the season with a paltry record of 1-3, the Bears, after their win over Green Bay, are above 500 for the first time since week 1. The Bears 5 for 8 on third down against the Packers and are one of the best third down offenses in the league. And as we see here, plenty of football left to be played in Week 9 and next Sunday, but the Bears are the 3 seed out of the NFC. San Francisco holds tiebreakers over all but the Green Bay Packers of teams in the NFC going into Week 9. They will play host to the St. Louis Rams. This is a team that is 2-2 in one-possession games this year. It's been a topsy-turvy, dramatic season for the battle-tested San Francisco 49ers at 4-4. They host the 5-3 St. Louis Rams. Ronnie Lott intercepts Wardard, who is the top completion percentage quarterback in the league, 70% of the season for the youngster from Northern Iowa, Kurt Warner. 49ers late opening quarter. Here's Montana after back-to-back 3-and-outs for both clubs. He throws a 21-yard completion to Rice. A 12-yard hookup to the veteran from Washington State, Mike Wilson. Sets up 3rd and 16 for the Niners. Montana goes short. Rice the catch, but the Niners are forced to settle for a field goal on the second quarter drive. 3-0 entering the third quarter. Roger Craig moves the chains with a physical run of 13. Then on the very next play, the veteran from Nebraska spins away from 2 Ram defenders. That's a 67-yard touchdown run for Craig, who's tied for second of the league in rushing. 86 carries, 496 yards and a league-high 4 touchdown runs this season. Marshall Faulk, 2 plays later, he spins free and he's loose from 77 yards. And St. Louis is back in the game in what seems more like a running back party here from San Francisco. The league's best rusher, Marshall Faulk, gives the Rams their first points of the day. Montana goes deep here midway third quarter and hooks up with Jerry Rice to put them in plus territory. But on 3rd and 10, Montana, who they lean on, not Craig on this play, throws incomplete, tipped by way of lights. And St. Louis's defense, they come in unscathed after a field goal clangs off the right upright by Kofor. He has missed 4 field goals this season. Late third quarter off of play action for Kurt Warner. Good protection, but he throws an interception, second of the ball game. This to the youngster from Weber State, Darryl Pollard. And the Niner kicker, Mike Hofer, redeems himself here early fourth quarter as he hits a long field goal. Niners up 13-7. Warner on third down throws incomplete, coverage by Fagan. San Francisco gets the ball back, and they would not relinquish it till very late in the game. Top 5 in yards, passing and first downs is the San Francisco offense. The Niners move the chains inside the 5 with a run from Craig, who spins to the 1, tackled by McLean. And after timeouts by way of St. Louis's Dick Vermeil, the Rams are down 9 and lose the game on this 4th down stop by San Francisco. The 49ers, from an 0-3 start, are now 5-4 with just 1 game remaining in the regular season. San Francisco tailback Roger Craig was incredible. 18 runs, 162 yards and a touchdown in the 16-7 win over St. Louis. The Rams will be playing for their postseason lives next Sunday when St. Louis plays host to the Seattle Seahawks. This is the remaining NFC standings. This is how it will look going into Week 10. Meanwhile, out of the AFC, we've got 1 game remaining. On the left, Denver in the 2 seed plays host to Kansas City in the 3 seed here in Week 9, and primetime football in the DSFL 4. Now, the Broncos found themselves in what was a tough predicament coming into this week, knowing that a win today and next week with some help by the Patriots could mean they could have the top spot of the AFC. Frank Pitts gains 24. Williams saves the touchdown for Denver. 3rd and 13, late opening quarter. Dawson, who has struggled seemingly all season, he throws complete. That's to the tight end Curtis McClinton, while the Broncos force Kansas City to settle for a field goal. First play of the second quarter. Elway dials up the deep ball. That's a completion to the 4-year man from Missouri Southern and Rod Smith. Then a man who had an incredible performance today, that's Ed McCaffrey, who has over 400 yards receiving. He's one of the top 10 wideouts in the league this year. It's a 10-6 lead for the Broncos. Then Shannon Sharp gets involved. Touchdown saving tackle by way of Johnson. Then McCaffrey continues this drive for Denver and concludes it with a touchdown catch in front of Cesar Belzer. The Broncos have a commanding 2-score lead midway through the third quarter. Kansas City engineers a promising drive late in the third stanza before Dawson on 3rd and 7 throws incomplete. Next Broncos drive late in the third quarter. It's John Elway to attempt to win the game. Throws an interception to the rookie from Notre Dame, Dave Martin. Flags against the Broncos for a hold, and thus Kansas City searches early fourth quarter to punch this in the end zone. Dawson completes to Garrett, who loses the ball. It's recovered by Denver. That's Tyrone Braxton, veteran from North Dakota State, who scoops up the loose ball for Garrett. It's his first fumble this season. Then the Broncos win the game with a gut run to Davis with under 2 minutes to play fourth quarter. Denver knocks out Kansas City 17-6. And after a Chiefs 3-1 record to begin the season, Kansas City has won 1 of their final 6 games and now currently at 4-5. Kansas City is vying for any sort of help from the AFC. The Chiefs are currently at the outside in of a playoff spot as we head to the final weekend of the DSFL 4. The regular season finale's next Sunday, and all 7 games have playoff implications out of the DSFL 4. Green Bay's at Kansas City. Chiefs enter the playoffs with a win or a Baltimore loss at Oakland. or a Pittsburgh defeat at the Patriots. Broncos clinched the top spot of the AFC with a victory at Miami and a Patriots loss. They are home against the Steelers. In the NFC, Seahawks and St. Louis meet in Los Angeles. Loser is eliminated from the postseason. The winner is in. Chicago misses the playoffs if they lose against the Vikings, and the Redskins win at San Francisco. Meanwhile, the 49ers against those Redskins clinch the postseason with a win or loss by Chicago, who is at the Vikings. This is the Dream Season Football League 4 with Charger Dude 95.